Well, hi everybody. It's that time of week again. It's on the run time, but we have to be very quiet because I've got a croaky voice. I don't know what happened to my voice, and it's late at night here. Normally I shoot this in the mornings, but it's very, very late because I was so busy today. So it's a quiet on the run this week. Shh. Well, hi everybody, welcome to On The Run, and yes, it is a croaky voice, Andrew. I've got plenty of water here, and I will try to get through On The Run without losing my voice too much, and it is late at night, so it's going to be a bit of a quiet one, but I'm sure you can hear me. I'll try not to be as excitable as I normally am. But anyway, let's get into the news of the week. It's been a really interesting week in the APAC gaming industry. So let's start off as we usually do with Macau. Now, some great results and some great numbers out of Macau this week. JP Morgan came out and said that Macau is on track for the biggest ever post-COVID month. They are predicting north of 1.99 billion US. Well, that's 2 billion in my book. They said for the first 16 days of July, almost half, they expect 1.03 billion GGR. But of course, we did have a typhoon kind of knocked out one day. Please excuse me. Voice is a little croaky. But they said those numbers were up at 90% of pre-COVID mass. They're expecting 100% by October. So it's all good news. Now, next story, Sands China Limited came out yesterday with their numbers, and wow, their first profit in 3.5 years. That's fantastic to see. Their bottom line net income was 187 million US dollars. I think same time last year they lost 400 and something. Total revenue was $1.62 billion, and some interesting numbers. Let me give you the breakup there. The breakup is Venetian 41%, Londoner 25%, Parisian 15%, the Plaza 14%, which you could maybe kind of put in with Venetian. It's basically the Four Seasons, and 5% for Sands Macau. So that gives you a sense of the breakup. But the main thing is their total revenue, 1.62 billion. Net income, bottom, not EBITDA, but bottom line net income, 187 million, and dividends are back. So, in honor of Mr. Adelson, yay, dividends. Another story about Sands China, they the way we expressed it is they lauded the mix of gaming and non-gaming. Their non-gaming revenue for the quarter was up to 22%. That's a very, very big number for Macau. Last year it was 17% for the same quarter, and Grant Chum, the COO of Sands China Limited, came out and said that they've seen a shift from gaming to non-gaming, and he reminded everyone that Sands is the dominant non-gaming revenue generator. So Grant Chum performing well again on the earnings call. Still in Macau, the MGTO went last week to Korea, went to South Korea, and they did one of these road shows, one of these promos that they do. I think it was a 4-day road show. They took, of course, all the 6 concessionaires with them, and they did their Experience Macau Unlimited thing and themed it Moments of Macau. So again, MGTO going with the concessionaires and encouraging them to get out into other countries to encourage foreign visitation into Macau. Still in Macau, just announced yesterday, 2.5 million US dollars each for each of the 6 concessionaires to sponsor the Macau Grand Prix this year. It's going to be an expanded, big Macau Grand Prix. It's the 70th Macau Grand Prix. I remember reporting on the 60th Macau Grand Prix. And it's going to run over 2 weekends with 6 days of racing. The biggest race is a Formula 3 World Cup, and it's 120 million mop between the 6 of them, so 15 million US. And of course, this kind of takes the place of Sun City. Sun City used to sponsor this, but obviously Sun City no longer can because there is no Sun City. Let's move on to the Philippines now, perhaps my favourite jurisdiction right now. And PAGCOR announced during the week that the Philippines' total GGR for the first half of the year was $2.5 billion US dollars. So it's on track for 5 billion, maybe even more as ramping up continues. Excuse me. This was a 36% increase on last year, and it was a 40, or in income, and it was a 49% increase in GGR on last year. And the chairman and CEO of PAGCOR, Alejandro Tenco, said his line was that PAGCOR will certainly ride on the tide of economic recovery in the Philippines, the country's economic growth. So that's great. And I might just mention that he gave the keynote at G2E Asia on Thursday last week, and it was excellent. We reported on it. It was absolutely excellent. President Marcos himself inspected a site at Clark, a medical site. They're going to be building there with PAGCOR and Solaire funding, or Solaire's charity arm funding. They're going to be building a medical centre, which is going to be a heart centre, a kidney centre, cancer centre, children's hospital, and this is the first regional specialty medical centre in central Luzon. And this land was donated by the CDC, the Clark Development Corporation. So this is more nation building in the Philippines from gaming, which is awesome. Still in the Philippines, a story about us. Excuse me. The IAG rebrands the IRAA as the IAG Academy. This is something we did during the week. We're adding education as a fourth arm to our business. So our business at the moment is a media business, an events business, a business services or consulting business, 3 arms. We're adding education as a fourth arm, and we believe we're positioned well to offer education, and we're going to be doing this through what we are now calling the IAG Academy. Initially we called it the IRAA, which was the Integrated Resorts Academy of Asia, but we just honestly, to be honest with you, we shied away from attaching our name to it to begin with, but now we haven't done that. Macau has made a great statement about wanting to move away from gaming and try and diversify its economy, but IAG is not ashamed to be associated with gaming, and so we've decided, look, we've got a strong brand, let's stick our name into the academy, which is unashamedly education for gaming. So that's what we've done. A second story this week, a related story, was immediately after we announced the rebranding as the IAG Academy. We announced what we're calling Super September. Now, what is Super September? Well, we're going to do 3 events in 1 week. We're going to do a MAD, Manila After Dark, on September the 12th at Newport World Resorts. That's going to be at the Grand Bar on the grand wing of Newport World Resorts. Newport has 2 wings, a garden wing and a grand wing, and they've got a bar, the Grand Bar, which has huge screens, really nice venue. So we'll be doing Manila After Dark from 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. on September 12th, so look out for your invitations. But that event will also form the welcome cocktails for a 2-day summit that we're running on September 13 and 14, the IAG Academy Summit. So the IAG Academy is going to be doing education both online and offline, and the summit is part of the online. So we're doing a 2-day summit. We're going to have some interesting speakers. We're going to have some innovative ways of presenting. We're going to do something different to what you've seen from other trade shows in Asia, and we think it's time for us to move forward and do that. A lot of people have been encouraging us to do that, and we've finally agreed to do it. And then on the evening of September 13, the evening of day 1 of the 2-day summit, we're going to have the IAG Academy IR Awards. We haven't had an IR Award since 2019 in Asia, a big fully fledged IR award specifically for the land-based gaming industry, specifically run by an Asian media organisation based in Asia that understands Asia, and we're doing it. So we're doing it on September 13. There'll be 20 categories as well as the industry icons category that we had back in 2021. So that's going to be a big week of activity, September 12, 13, 14, all at Newport World Resorts. The summit and the awards are both going to be at the ballroom of the Hilton Manila at Newport. So please support that and get there, and who knows, there might be some very famous industry people from the Philippines in attendance. Now, moving on, let's go down to Australia. Kind of a crazy story out of Victoria this week that really blew my socks off. I mean, Victoria now, I think now what's happening in Australia is the regulators are competing. They're trying to out-regulate each other. I think it's a real problem. I think the regulators are competing to show who's the toughest. And Victoria has now capped EGM load at $100 Australian. You can't have more than $100 Australian. That's $67 US in an EGM, in a slot machine in Victoria now. This is, in my view, kind of crazy. It takes all the fun away from it. That's down from 1,000. It was 1,000, and it was even higher than that earlier. They've slowed the spin rates to 3 seconds per spin. They've put in mandatory pre-commitment and mandatory carded play. It's part of a raft of reforms to show how tough they are on pokies in Australia, and it means that playing the pokies in Australia anymore, or at least legal ones, are not going to be any fun in Victoria. And mark my words, I've said it before and I'll say it again, keep your eye out for some underground slot clubs popping up that don't have all these rules, that do provide a fun experience, who don't care where your money comes from, who don't limit you to $100 in the machine, who will allow you to put a toothpick in the button to continuously play, who will give you the experience that you're looking for. I believe it's coming in Australia. I believe it's going to be just like King's Cross back in the 70s and the 80s. It wasn't too hard to find a baccarat table in Sydney before it was legalised. I can tell you that now. Anyway, moving on. Cambodia, big mass recovery at Naga Corp. Second quarter of 2023, 57% year-on-year increase in profit. They're attributing this to the continued tourism recovery. Revenue up 8%, EBITDA up 10%, revenue up to 252 million, EBITDA up to 143 million. Wow, what a huge EBITDA margin they have there, because of course salaries are very low in Cambodia. So great results for Naga, and good to see them getting back on track. I mean, everyone's getting back on track now. COVID's really starting to fall back in the mirror now, in the rear vision mirror, which is fantastic. Let's head over to Korea now, and Paradise Co. that runs the Paradise IR at Incheon. It's going to record, they say, record Q2 2023 revenue and profit. Sorry, they don't say that. JP Morgan says that. And JP Morgan says that their quote was, even the skeptics would have to agree that pent-up demand is very real here. And they say, look, it's a surprisingly quick ramp up back to 100% of pre-COVID levels. So could be some good numbers coming out of Incheon. And this could augur well for the upcoming Mohegan Inspire opening in Q1 or Q4, can't remember. Now to Japan, Universal, Q2 above expectation on better than expected patchy slot sales, and of course their share in the IR that I was just mentioning, Paradise, they have 45% share in that IR, and Paradise Co itself has 55% share in that JV. They're expecting their net income attributable to the owners to be $151 million in the first half of 2023. This is up 210% year on year. It's exceeding all forecasts, so congratulations to Universal. Still in Japan, the Osaka governor finally came out and admitted what everybody knows, and that is that there is no way the Osaka IR can open in 2029. It will be 2030 at the earliest. This is something I have been saying since probably 2020, it is not going to open in the 2020s. It's going to be in the 2030s. It was interesting. I find it fascinating the language the Japanese use. He said it would be difficult to open in 2029. Subtitles, impossible. Difficult means impossible. And he said that there was a shared understanding of the people involved of the timeline, which is code for everybody knows it won't be in 2029. The CEO, chairman and CEO of MGM, Hornbuckle came out, and Bill Hornbuckle came out and said I can't remember when he said it, but he said it in an analyst call that it would be 2030. This was sometime a few months ago, I guess. So I guess, was it the Q1 results? Maybe it was the Q1 results for MGM. He came out and said, look, it's 2030. Okay, you're going to hear it from me here now. I'm going to make a prediction. It's not going to be 2030. It's not going to be 2031. I'm going to go for 2032, and gee, it could even be 2033, but I'll go for 2032. Now, it gives me no glee to say that. It gives me no joy. I wish MGM all the best. I'm really starting to admire their perseverance with this. Ed Bowers must be made of some kind of super material to be pushing through with this for so many years. Good on him, and good on MGM for sticking it through. And they may well be rewarded in the end. It looked like the Japanese properties weren't going to be very profitable, but if MGM gets a monopoly, or an effective monopoly, I think a small Nagasaki doesn't really stop them having a monopoly, then they're going to do well, and good luck to them. So it gives me no glee to say 2032. It's not because I've got anything against MGM. It's just because I think that's how Japan is, and there's going to be further delays. It's very, very interesting at G2E to listen to one of the few interesting talks at G2E was by a Japanese professor who explained why it's taken so long. And it was very, very interesting, but I won't go into that now. But he gave some interesting insights as to why it's taken so long in Japan. Anyway, let's move on. Hong Kong Jockey Club breaks the record again. Biggest single day, biggest final day. They ended the 2022-2023 season on Sunday the 16th of July, and the total turnover for the last day was 2.07 billion Hong Kong dollars. So what are you looking there? 2 billion, 1 billion, half a billion, 251 million US dollars on a single day. Race meeting number 88, of course, for the year. And for the whole season, their total turnover has been, wait for it, are you sitting down, US $18.1 billion. That's US 18.1 billion. A lot of people ask me, why is the CEO of the Hong Kong Jockey Club, Winfried Engelbrecht, so high in the Power 50 now? He's even in the top 10 now. Well, the answer is sheer volume of money that guy has to be steward for. Now, a lot of it ends up in Hong Kong government's coffers. The Hong Kong Jockey Club is the biggest taxpayer in all of Hong Kong. It supports all kinds of charities. It's basically an arm of the government. But still, it's a gaming company with a turnover of 18.1 billion. Not even Sands does that. So not even Galaxy does that. So all of Macau combined this year might get to 180 billion. What's that? 90, 45, 22 and a half. So all of Macau combined, we might be getting towards 22.5 billion this year. Hong Kong Jockey Club on its own, one company, one organisation. I don't think it's a company technically, 18 billion. So that's why he ends up so high in the Power 50. What else? Oh, Russia. Story out of Russia. If it's Russia, it's Vladivostok. If it's Vladivostok, it's probably Somerset. Yes, it is Somerset. Somerset finally bought that land in Japan from its parent, LET Group. This land, I mean, to be honest, I think this is a necessary. I mean, it's not about buying land to develop a hotel. It's about buying land because they have to buy it off LET because they're funding LET, and LET owes so much and has so much debt around Hoyana and so forth. So this is a way of LET paying back some of the cent, I believe, is by giving them the land, and then some of the cent has to pay them, but then they turn around and use that money to pay them back straight away, because some of the cent has been funding, its parent has been funding LET Group. LET Group, of course, is the former Sun City. They changed their name for obvious reasons, and it has Hoyana, it has some of the cent in Vladivostok, and it also has West Side in Manila at Entertainment City. But with the jailing for 18 years of its spiritual leader, let's say, Alvin Chow, things have changed, and Andrew Lowe is now the chairman. But I think it's a tough situation for them. So we wish them well, but they are in a tough situation. I think this buying of the land in Japan was all about that. Okay, well, that's it for this week. My voice is kind of held up. Thanks for listening all the way to the end, and we will see you. Have a great week ahead, because I think you're going to be watching this on Monday, not Friday, because it's so late on Thursday. I don't think we'll get it ready in time for tomorrow morning for Friday. But anyway, have a great weekend ahead. My run continues. I'll be here till Monday. Monday night, I'm flying down to Melbourne. I'll be in Melbourne for a few days. Then I'm actually heading over to Port Vila in Vanuatu for the first time in 30 years. I was over there 30 years ago as a young man setting up a sports betting shop. I'm going over there, and I'll be looking at some sports betting things while I'm over there. I'll be there for a few days, then back to Melbourne again. Then there'll be some shooting around Oz, I think. But then I'll be up to Manila again pretty soon. Got some important things to do in Manila. And of course, we've got to prepare for Super September. So I'll be up there, back to Manila around the middle of August. And see you all then. So anyway, have a great week ahead, and see you next time. Bye for now.
Run.